Hey everyone, Chaos Giga here, and with episode 5, we are going to start on the villager breeder. But before we do, there are some tips I wanted to give everyone, at least for the new people anyway. I'm sure that have never played Minecraft before. That's basically what I was wanting to do this series for. And so, first off, you might notice that I've kind of captured a guy in a boat. Well, this is the guy that's been annoying me and hopping in my bed because he's the one that was the baby villager and grew up, and that was because I laid an extra bed down. So come to find out, 1.16 has changed their mechanics so that if there is a bed, or at least an extra bed, in the vicinity of a village, they will actually successfully breed a lot more often. So, we do have a limit to how many villagers they can breed now according to beds. It used to be workstations, and now apparently it's beds, I guess. I'm going to have to do some more research on that, but apparently that's why sometimes people have been having issues with some of the new breeders, or at least the old breeders. But if your breeder was already working from 1.15.2 in after the update, it should still be working, because mine is still working in my realm. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the first tip, and that is the F3 menu. So obviously the F3 menu on Java Edition is very, very useful for telling you what your light level is, your direction that you're facing. So there's north, there's west, there's south, and there's east. I should have gone the other way. That would have made them so much less confusing. And then we have our XYZ chords. That's the chords that you can share with people so that they know where you're at. You can also teleport to those chords if you have cheats activated and all that stuff. This is also good to let you know if you're experiencing lag, if maybe it's on your end. So if your memory is being like maxed out, that would cause lag on your end. But obviously I'm not going to have that issue. I will have issue sometimes when I start recording because the encoder starts to use some of the CPU as well as the CPU being used by the game. At the same time the GPUs are kicking in. So if I start recording early as soon as I log into the map, it's going to start lagging because it's still trying to load all the chunks around me, if that makes sense. First things first, you'll see at the bottom there it says for help, press F3 plus Q. So we're going to do that, F3 and Q. I'm going to hit F3 to get rid of my background there. So this lists all the different options you have that you could do with the F3. I'm just going to go back in the chat. So you hit T for chat, and then I'll bring up the list that you just brought up. F3 plus B will show the hitboxes, and that's one of the most important and biggest friends you're going to have when you're trying to move villagers. That way you don't accidentally hit your villagers and make them mad at you, which could increase their prices. It also makes it to where you won't accidentally kill them, because that sometimes happens as well. So F3 plus B will show us our hitboxes. So you can see the little the white outlines there. That's the hitboxes for the boat down here, and this one right here is the one for the villager. So obviously if I want to break this boat without hurting my villager, I want to angle my axe right at that hitbox and not want to hit the hitbox that my villager has. So just like that, I broke the boat, never even touched my villager, so now he's free to go. And as you saw, he took off like a, well, like a crazy man. He doesn't want me to catch him again. So we're just going to go ahead and hit F3 plus B to hide those hitboxes again, so we don't have to deal with them right now. And we're going to get started on our project today, which is the villager breeder. Okay, so I kind of lied. Before we even start on the villager breeder, as you can see, I've already added a pumpkin farm. I actually need to harvest them. It looks like they all have a pumpkin on them now. And I made a double, well, 81 plus 81, so yeah. So a double farm. So they got a potato farm and a wheat farm. Right now I'm trying to build up my stores of wheat so I can make a cow crusher. I'm hoping to do that at the end of the episode, so bear with me on that. But for now, we're going to go down to where I'm going to build this villager breeder, which is actually down underground. I've done this several times, and it seems like the underground ones are easier to make just because when you have to use boats to get your villagers into it, it just makes it easier because you can just drop the boat down into the hole and row them into place. So basically, to start with this, I have to start laying down the dirt. So I've already dug out a big room here, if you will. It's 3 tall, which is basically what you're going to need for your villagers. And this way I can just place a, place something up top here to trap my villager in here, if you will. So right here is where I've dug out. This is where all the dirt's going to go. I obviously left the torches so nothing would spawn down here. We are going to be removing them very shortly though, however. So basically what we need to do is grab my dirt and, oh, I forgot. Yeah, I do have glass, so I need to take this back to my house so I can replace those fence posts with glass. That'd actually help a lot. I'm gonna sleep real quick though first. I don't want anything to spawn out there with the villagers. That'd be terrible. I could be very heartbroken after that. So the first things first, we're gonna grab the dirt. We'll go ahead and grab the jack-o'-lanterns as well, and the stairs, along with the trap doors, and that slab. We need that cobblestone slab for the center. So the center is going to be 9 blocks from the edge here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's right here. So let's move this boat up here. Let's actually move those up there as well. Grab those down here. So this is where the center is. We're going to waterlog this bottom slab here, and then on top of that we'll place a composter, as you'll see in a few minutes. Now, you may be asking, what in the world am I building a villager breeder for? Well, if you want to have a really good start in Minecraft anymore, without having to, like, I don't know, just find a lot of diamonds on your world. Like, obviously that's a thing. You can find diamonds pretty fast if you know where to look. Which, if you don't, then you should probably watch one of my previous episodes, because I did do something on that. But villager breeders are really great in the fact that you can get a lot of villagers really quickly, give them some jobs, and I like to give mine the librarian positions, if you will. And the reason for this is, once we get a lot of librarians, we can actually get a very good start. You can get a very good start and actually have a lot of jobs for them, which includes getting us some very, very decent enchantments for our gear. At the same time, we can also use the villager breeder to get smiths and blacksmiths, so we can actually get diamond stuff early game real quick, especially after you've made a iron farm, which is one of the next big projects I plan on doing. In a single player world, you don't really have to have that big of an iron farm, and so I always just build the small miniature ones, which I've seen. KixG has a really nice one. And by the way, this villager breeder design is not my own. I believe it is Impulse SV's design. It could be somebody else's. I don't exactly know for sure, but this is the design that I use in every single world I create. It's also the same one I use in my realm. And they're actually not that complicated to build. It's just getting the layout set up and then capturing the villagers. And the capturing the villagers part is probably the hardest part in the entire project. Not gonna lie. Alright, so now I want to go through here and I want to dig out exactly where these jack-o'-lanterns need to be, so I don't have to worry about them. I don't have to worry about when I take out these torches, things are going to spawn in here. Especially after I start making this into field. So let's look for, I've got this whole layout is written down, so basically I need to take out every other block like this on the outside, and then we're going to replace it with something else. And I'm going to stay with this the whole way through so you guys can see exactly how this is built. The main thing though is probably I'm not going to be able to do that with the villagers. We'll see. Just depends on how they feel like cooperating with me. Not quite sure how that's going to work out, but we'll figure that out. But I really love villager breeders now more than ever, especially since I don't really like having to, well, constantly mine for extra diamonds, even though I do like to mine for extra blocks, and I occasionally still do find diamonds. Because I like to dig down at level 11 so I can find a lot of redstone, obviously. Lapis is just a thing. It's just a bonus for, like, for me, for basically just dyes now, since I don't even really build a crafting or enchanting table anymore. Okay, so basically like I was doing there, we just dig out every other block on the outside here, and then we're going to have a light source there. Source there. We skip. So the next one right here should be a stair. So light source, stair, light source, and then that should be a solid block or normal block. Light source, stair, light source, light source. stair, light source, solid block, light source, stair, light source, stair, light source, block, light source, stair, light source, stair, light source, block, light source, stair, light source. So I have one left, and that's going to go on top of the composter. So now I should be able to get rid of all of these. The two crops that are important to use for this farm are obviously carrots and potatoes. I'm not exactly sure why, but I think those are the only two besides bread that will work with breeders, or at least breeding villagers, that I'm aware of. If there is another reason other than that, then please feel free to let me know down in the comments, but pretty much it is just bread, carrots, and potatoes for breeding villagers. I'm going to get rid of this one too. Let's go grab that composter real quick so we can put that in the center and put our last jack-o'-lantern up. So literally just look down at that and then shift, put the jack-o'-lantern up, and you're golden. Alright, now we're going to have to waterlog these stairs, so I actually messed up here. I should have made a water source in here, an input water source in here, so eventually I will cut and do that. But we need to put a stair here, and since we're building this underground and I didn't remove these extra blocks, I don't have to worry about using extra trapdoors. So I literally have extra trapdoors I don't even need to use. And every one of these I'm going to alternate in here, so stairs. Make sure, is that gonna, yeah, just make sure the water is facing towards the field so that way it does waterlog the field to keep the crops hydrated. Okay, so that's that. Now we just go in and fill in the rest of the holes that are empty with a solid block of some kind. Doing that to the outside as well. Okay, I messed up. I think I put all my dirt up. Yeah, I need to... Alright, so if we look, we've got a light source of at least 10 all the way through here. Well, 9 is in some spots, but that's okay. We want the light level to be pretty decent. With this light level here, the crops will still grow. So that is one of the important things to remember. So now I need to go get some water buckets and make an unlimited water source. So we're going to do that right here. We're just going to go ahead and dig a 3-hole spot. Literally just 2 water buckets, one on either end, and we'll have an infinite water source. I'm going to go take care of that real quick, and then we'll come right back. Alright, got our infinite water source block. We're going to go ahead and flood all these staircases now. Alright, now that we got all the staircases waterlogged, it's time to go ahead and use the hose that I got here to make this into farmland. It's also another thing that is important to know that farmland is actually not a spawnable block. It will not spawn mobs, but doesn't mean mobs cannot walk on it and destroy crops, because they can do that. That is a thing. So that's why it's still important to have light levels around your field. Also, the light levels will also help your crops grow even at night. So that is another important thing to keep in mind when you are building a field, whether it be up on the ground, above ground, or in a cave. It's going to need some form of light. But definitely needs light when it's underground, especially underground. This is only the this is the third time I've built a villager breeder underground. I just hope that everything goes according to plan with the villagers. That is the one thing that I always dread, is the villager part. It takes a lot of patience and, well, a lot of time just to capture all the villagers. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to encase this, or enclose it, if you will, in glass. So I'm going to do one layer all the way around. I'm going to see exactly how much glass it's going to leave me, because I know that I'm going to need at least 2 layers of glass to prevent the farmer. 3 of them. Don't do what I just did there. I'm going to start from the outside, so that way I know exactly where I need to place these at. But you just only have to use them diagonally, obviously, because that'll trap the villagers in. And then right here is where we are going to have the 2 villagers that will breed. So we just need to leave a doorway right here. And we're going to have 2 extra glass blocks, one underneath this spot and one underneath this spot. And the reason for that is to prevent the farmer from being able to reach the bed and sleep. And that's why we have to place the beds a certain way so there are 2 villagers that breed don't suffocate if it becomes nighttime. And I can't do that right now either because I need to have one of these not up there. So I just wasted a glass block. That is my bad. Totally my bad, but let's just go through here and put the second layer on. I mess up the glass portion all the time, and so don't feel bad if you're building this for the first time and you do the exact same thing I just did. It's the most annoying thing, but I need to see what's going on in here because I need to make sure that my farmer is still alive. I need to make sure that these villagers are breeding, so that's why I always enclose everything to do with villagers in glass. We're going to go ahead and just see if I can't make it all the way around one more time. With all this glass that I've got. If I have to get more glass for my house, I will, but I'm not going to really worry about the house right now. This is one of the most important aspects. We can always get more glass from our villagers actually later on. Because believe it or not, there are villagers that sell glass. So after this, the next thing is to plant the crops. Now, another important note on this villager breeder is that if you don't have enough crops yet, well, don't freak out, because guess what? If you only plant like a few plots in here, the farmer villager or the villager that you capture in here, he will literally harvest the crops and he will plant ones that you need. That needs to go there, and we might as well just go ahead and put that one there because eventually we'll have the 2 blocks that fill in that spot, and then we'll just have a little doorway here. And this is where the trap door, the first trap door, comes in handy. We're just going to place that right there like that, and that will trap this farmer villager in here. You literally need 2 blocks of space right here, and then that trap door up on the top block of space. So if you open it, the villager can get through. If you don't open it, the villager cannot get through, and this is on all doorways. So that's another important tip for villagers and preventing them from getting out of places. They can't get through the trapdoor section. And that's the same for zombies, I believe, too. I think they're the same height as villagers. One thing that will make it through is creepers, but I don't think creepers really go after villagers. I think they actually ignore creepers, and creepers ignore them. I think creepers just go after the player and anything that damages them or anything like that. So now it's time to plant the potatoes. So we'll get after that. I don't know if 2 stacks is going to be enough, but I'm really not too concerned because I know that the farmer villager that I capture in here, or at least the villager that I make a farmer villager, will actually just plant more to make up for whatever was not planted in here. So I'm not really going to worry about it or stress about it if I don't have enough potatoes. Alright, so that's all the potatoes I had on me. I could actually get some more from my house and plant them and fill this in, which I might actually do just to make sure that this farmer doesn't have too many plots to plant, but I will worry about that after I get him in there. The next thing that we're going to do is actually we're going to take care of the double chest and the hopper downstairs, which I have dug this out. I want to dig this out further, and this is where I'm actually going to place the work sites for all my villagers that come out of this breeder. So that'll be something, another project for another time. So let's go ahead and get to work on this. Alright, before I forget, let's go ahead and replace a torch down here. So this is where the villagers are going to the baby villagers are going to fall down to is right here, and then obviously, as long as we have this hole here, if the crops get thrown down here to the baby villagers that are captured down here, they will miss some and they'll get sucked into the hopper, and we'll get some free food. Along with the villagers that get their food, they will also give us free food, so that's convenient. It's another thing that's convenient about a breeder. Alright, so the next step is to go capture the farmers. So, generally, when you first start off, the boat's going to be like the first mode of transportation that you're going to get very easily. And I need to sleep real quick. So since the boat is readily available, it's usually the most common item that people will use to capture villagers with. The boat is like one of the easiest things to use to move villagers at first. The only problem is paths. Paths can stop the boat, grass blocks can stop the boat. This is why I generally suggest using minecarts, but really at the beginning of a game, you're not going to get minecarts right off the bat. So boats are generally like the main thing you're going to be stuck with for a while. So let's just swap out down there. Have to break the boat. I need to catch him on this side. There we go, we got him. Okay, that was pretty quick and easy, right? Alright, now I just gotta row him down that way. It's the one thing I hate about paths. They don't allow you to jump over these things. Alright, so another tip. You right click with a shovel on a grass block or a dirt block, and it makes a path. Alright, so now we're going to try this again, try to get him away from the path if we can, because that path is what's going to really cause us issues until we get down here to where we need it to take us to the cave. It looks like we can actually drive our boats through the grass blocks now. Okay, what's going on here? Alright, and just drop ourselves down in here and row our boat in the air. Okay, got our farmer in here. So now let's trap him in. And again, we're going to use the trick with F3B. Break the boat. Got the boat, and he's going to try to get out, but he can't because he can't fit through that door. Alright, so now my next thing is to go ahead and break out these blocks. With the exception of this right here, this is where we're going to put our trapdoors, our trapdoor system, and the beds. So I'll come right back once I've got this right here ready to go. Okay, so we're at the level where we need to put in our fence post. As you can see, I got a block, or a glass block, basically glass blocks up to 2 high there. We're now going to go ahead and make this 3 high right there, and then we're going to put another one right here, and this is going to capture all the villagers, the baby villagers, and this is where they're going to drop down at. So now we need to make sure that we have a fence gate in here so we can trap them in here for a while until I have a system set up. I'm actually probably just going to put fence gates right here because they can't open fence gates. If you've watched my previous episodes, then you'll see that. Basically, I'm going to put glass blocks up above this, so on the 3rd layer all the way around, glass blocks, just to prevent, well, just so I can place the beds up there. So we'll go ahead and get up there and do that. Alright, so the beds have to be placed in a certain way, and it's basically with the pillow facing underneath these blocks right here, these glass blocks right here. The reason for that is so that when the villagers wake up, they won't suffocate in the blocks that we've placed down here. And the reason why we place these 2 extra glass blocks here is to prevent the farmer villager from being able to hop down out of here and sleep on the beds, because that was actually happening after one of the updates in 1.15. So now, as you can see, we've got all the beds placed. We're going to jump off of here, and now we're going to place all the trap doors. and they're literally just going to be like that. And we're going to leave them up for now, just like that. And at least that right there we're going to leave up, because the other two, or other three, I want to do this on. We want to get the other two villagers in here, and the best way for me to do that, first off, let's go ahead and destroy this block, because I believe the boat will still float on that. Alright, so that's all set up. Now I need to go make some fence gates, and when I come back I'll have the villagers already here, so all we got to do is just break them out of the boat. Another thing we should probably do is build an enclosure around this, just to make sure that they can't get out once we've broken the boats. But when I come back, we'll have everything ready to go, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so I got both villagers that I could catch, caught. I caught one of the other farmers just because we could easily have the villagers in the village up there actually take over the farms that they have down below, just by simply breaking the workstations and then replacing them. That's all it takes. So we're gonna, first things first, we're gonna close that trap door so that way we can make sure that they won't escape. I'm gonna break this torch. I think it fell down there. No, it didn't. Okay. I'm gonna replace it right here. I'm going to go ahead and build up this glass first thing before I even break them out, so that way we can make sure that they will only fall into that section. So fall into down here, if you will. And let's just go ahead and build this all the way up to the roof like we did in there. Alright, we got this all filled in with glass. The last thing we'll need to do is put 2 more glass pieces right here. These guys right here will hopefully, when I break these, just fall down on the beds and not be spawned out somewhere else, because if they are, we're going to have to break some glass and get them back in there. But literally all you have to do is break the boats. When they fall down on the beds, when they sleep, when it becomes nighttime, or at least lay down on the beds, they'll become trapped in the center on top of the fence post with those trap doors, and that's how the villager breeder begins. So let's go ahead and get this started. Yeah, he's down there, and so is that one. Okay, now I'm just going to leave those boats in there because I really don't need them right now. And we're going to trap them in there. Alright. Get rid of the hitboxes, and we'll let them stay in there until they get trapped or whatever. We're going to go downstairs real quick, and we're going to make sure that these fence gates get put in so that these guys can't get out when they start breeding. It's literally going to have to be right here. So I think what we're going to have to do is actually dig this out. So I'm going to have to change this up a little bit. So I kind of messed this up, I guess. Replace this chest. And there's some cobblestone right here. Just trying to place it on the torch there. This way the baby villagers should fall down. They'll have some space in here to grow. And then right here is we'll put the first fence gate. I'm going to put 2 more up here, so that way they can't climb up here when they become adults. Just to make sure that that's like safe and they won't be able to make it through, I can also put some trap doors up here. But other than that, I think that'll do it for the trap doors and all that stuff for now. Alright, so I had to break the workstations for those 2 farmers, so I think we need to do that. I'm not exactly sure. If anybody knows, let me know down in the comments below, but I'm pretty sure we have to break their workstations. So I found their workstations, I destroyed them. Hopefully soon this guy right here will drop his job, and the other one should start eventually switching to that one and harvesting the crops. Unless there's some sort of fix that I'm not aware of. But at any rate, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. This is how you build a villager breeder in your world. You can also do this in a realm on Java. You can get unlimited food from this just by building one of these. I usually use carrots. This is my first time using potatoes. Just wanted to say that. But in the next episode, I'm going to start working on some farms, such as I'm going to capture some sheep, or at least 1 sheep, because I only need 1 sheep really. And I'm going to capture some cows and start a cow crusher. If you guys aren't aware of what cow crushers are, they are very helpful and very useful for getting food. So beef is one of those things that you definitely love to have, and also it allows you to get lots of leather so you can make books for the librarians. So I will catch you guys in the next episode.